Hi everybody, Dan Illman here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING, get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator exclusively on DRF Bets. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look at the feature race at Aqueduct on Sunday. Here's the field for the Jimmy Winkfield Stakes. These are 3-year-olds going 7/8 of a mile. And Mike and I are going to do the best we can for you in this race because several of these horses are cross-entered in the spectacular bid stakes at Laurel on Saturday. And many of them will run at Laurel, weather permitting. Of course, there is a giant bomb cyclone hitting the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic area right now, which puts everything in flux.
Yeah, I wonder, Dan, what are the chances that this bomb cyclone is just being over-exaggerated? Think there's any chance that they're maybe going a little overboard with the weather reports? We'll see what happens. Maybe they'll wind up canceling. Boy, it'd be a real shame, though. Half of this field is cross-entered at Laurel. This won't be much of a race if none of them show up.
Well, let's put up the Timeform US pace projector, more for me to remind everybody that after scratches are made official, to visit timeformus.com. This pace projector will automatically update. HP Moon is one of the horses cross-entered in the spectacular bid. He was, we'll talk about him when we get to him in a post-position standpoint, but he is very, very fast, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if he makes the lead.
Yeah, he's off of a long layoff here, going a pretty tough distance. So he's going to have to be, almost 100% fit if he's going to win this race. But he was super impressive in his only race as a 2-year-old.
Number 1 Coastal Mission is a very interesting horse. Let's watch his last race, the Maryland Juvenile Championship. It's a race that has already produced 4 next out winners. He got a good pace set up in here. You see the split's going to occur for him. He's going to get up for third. The runner-up, A Lot of Hope, is a nice horse. He came back to win a 1X with a 75 Beyer speed figure. Joe, the winner of the race, also came back to win. Coastal Mission's the kind of horse, blinkers on, he could improve if he goes here.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I really liked his debut win, Dan. I thought he ran really well that day. His last 2 races aren't bad at all. The problem that I have with him is it feels like he wants to be a speed horse and he's not fast enough to be a speed horse. They go forward with him. He gets outpaced around the turn every time, and then he has to try to grind back into it through the stretch. I suppose the blinkers could help with that, Dan. He actually does have some real potential, though, and he's going to be a price.
Steve Asmussen and trainer Toby Sheets has the 2 Morello, a $250,000 purchase by Classic Empire. Debut was an interesting performance going 3/4 of a mile. Let's watch the stretch run, but it's worth watching the head-on and whole pan on your formulator replays because this horse just broke inward and last, then showed decent enough tactical speed to get up close to a moderate pace. And this is basically just hands and heels urging. An easy win for Morello, and the runner-up came back to score with a 79 Beyer.
Yeah, the runner-up's not a bad horse at all, and that horse had experience already too. This horse did do a lot of nice things, Dan. I remember when he debuted in that race, I was wondering if there was maybe something to be concerned about because this horse was purchased for $250,000 in May, didn't run at Saratoga or at Belmont. It took him 6 months to make his debut. Didn't matter. This horse had easy speed after that tough break, and he won under strong handling. Really, really nice performance from this horse.
The 3 Bistor Famine just missed in the James F. Lewis Stakes, an open race at Laurel, also cross-entered in the spectacular bid on Saturday. Let's watch Bistor Famine's final start as a 2-year-old. He had won 2 races in a row coming into this race. He was dismissed at 11-1 taking on stakes competition, and he ran just fine. That Local Motive is a decent local horse.
Yeah, he was just a little slow coming into this race. I guess that's why he was a relatively big price. He's got a shot at it here. He just can't quite find enough to get there, but he did take a step forward. I thought of the horses that are shipping in for this race, Dan, assuming that they all ship in. He was the one that I felt like probably had the most improving to do.
Dance Code was graded stakes placed in his second lifetime start at Saratoga, although he was a well-beaten third in the Sanford that day. But he got back on the beam in this race, the Parks Juvenile last time out, going 7/8 of a mile. And this was a race in which he went to the front and he took a little bit of pressure in this race. I think there was a combination of maybe it wasn't the strongest field in the world and that he wanted the 7 more than some of these other horses.
Yeah, I think that might be true. Certainly that helps this horse, though, because he's going to go 7 again on Sunday. His figures aren't there, and I guess that could be a concern. The 68 he earned on debut is still the fastest race he's ever run. I just think that he ran better than it looks last time. As you mentioned, just took a ton of pressure on the lead and wouldn't relent. And I felt like I would just say go back his race 2 back in that Pennsylvania Nursery. Just go back and watch his trip in that race because he did not have a good trip at all. And he ran way better than it looks in there. I think that's a race he might have actually been able to win if anything went his way.
The number 5, HP Moon, has only run once, but boy, has there been a lot of drama in his career. Lacey Gaudette shipped up to Saratoga to debut on July the 31st. HP Moon made it all the way to the paddock and then was scratched. The horse identifier didn't believe that was HP Moon. Well, it was HP Moon, and he scratched, and he came back and he did this in his career debut at Pimlico on August the 23rd, where he blasted to the lead. He wins as much the best, and the 81 Beyer speed figure he earned was the fastest two-year-old speed figure in Maryland in 2021. Unfortunately, he came up with an ankle chip after this race. Lacey's confident that this horse is coming back good.
I certainly hope that she's right. He was a very, very promising 2-year-old last year. I mean, just look at this debut, Danny. Never got out of a gallop in here. Broke from the rail. He got in a little bit, but he recovered very quickly from that. Easily had the best speed in there, and he just absolutely romped in fast time. Again, they're asking a lot, I suppose, coming back off the long layoff and the surgery and going 7 furlongs in New York. But if he comes back anything like he was as a 2-year-old or even takes a step forward, he's a handful in here.
Life is Great earned a very competitive Beyer speed figure 2 starts back when graduating at this distance, at this track. And in his most recent start, the Heft at Laurel. Let's watch that race for Life is Great. I'm not sure he loved being down inside in behind horses in here, and he's going to keep trying to finish third, beaten 2 lengths. I think this was a really good experience for Life is Great, rating a little bit from off the pace and showing that he could at least pass a horse or 2 in the stretch.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he really did get into a lot of trouble there around the turn. Just got in very tight, and you could really argue that it cost him quite a bit in that race. I didn't love the fact, Dan, that the horse was won by the race was won by a huge long shot in there. That sort of bothers me. But he did have an excuse last time. He has the fast race 2 starts back. Easy enough to make a case for, I guess. I just kind of wanted to see him prove that the number 2 starts back is legit.
The number 7, Witty, is a very nice story. Let's watch the Pennsylvania Nursery on December the 7th. This is the first winner for young trainer McLean Hendricks. Witty is a homebred owned by his mom, Lizzie Merriman. And Witty won this race very, very easily with a 65 Beyer speed figure. He got a nice pace to attack, but he was very professional in the stretch. He was going to run in that Parks Juvenile that was won by Dance Code, but he came up with a foot abscess. I talked to McLean earlier this week. He said he's been treating the horse in a Z-bar shoe and that he's training very well.
I liked that win from him last time. That's the race I was talking about before, Dan, where Dance Code wound up. You saw him there at the end, almost getting up for 30. He just had an awful lot of trouble in there. But this horse actually ran well in his own right. I know his Beyer dipped by 10 points in victory, but I still felt like he ran a nice race last time. His maiden win was also a very good performance. I thought he was a contender in here.
Hagler, the 8, knocked out 2 wins in a row before trying a 1-turn mile on a sloppy track in the Jerome, and he went pretty quick on the lead that day. I'm not going to hold that race against him. He's fast. He has a nice attack outside post position, and he's getting blinkers for Rudy Rodriguez. Does he need to improve from a Beyer standpoint? Yes, especially in a race with other pace, but this horse is still promising.
Yeah, I think that's right. I'm struggling to decide what I want to do with him. His Jerome, there are plenty of ways to mitigate that performance, as you mentioned, the sloppy track and the fast pace going a mile. I still don't love the Jerome as a race overall, but I'm willing to give this horse the benefit of the doubt. The real problem I have with him, and this is a horse who I thought ran really well off the layoff in October, I did not like that performance 2 back when he won that allowance race as a very heavy favorite. He just really wasn't impressive at all winning that day. That bothers me, but I do think he has a chance to win this race.
Top pick time, Bomb Cyclone notwithstanding, and the Jimmy Winkfield HP Moon, super impressed. Folks, you saw the replay. I mean, you'll win easier than that. That's how you want him to debut, and it's a shame because maybe that's what we would have seen at Saratoga.
Yeah, it is a shame, especially for his connections where they didn't get to run for the big purse in New York. Really impressive. I'm going to take him on top, Dan. I know that there could be some concerns with him, but I really like that effort from him. I put Dan's Code second, and if I wind up scratching into Dan's Code, I wouldn't mind that at a price because I do think he ran way better than it looks too bad.
I'm curious to see if Morello can take the step up into stakes competition in only his second lifetime appearance. The pace is likely to be a lot faster than what he saw in his debut, but I like the way he finished that race off. And hey, I actually know he's running in this one. Some of the others might run on Saturday. HP Moon for Mike, Morello for me. Should be a good addition of the Jamie Winkfield if it stays intact. Best of luck.